to be here. I'm excited to, to see what I've got, to see how that fits into today's, card world. And, how do you find the value in what you had from 30 some years ago? That's kind of what I'm excited to hear about. So, but I know that, I'll tell a little bit about my card collection. So much like you, growing up in Michigan, southeastern Michigan, you went to Tiger games, right? I lived an hour or so away from Tiger Stadium. We went maybe 3 or 4 a year, right? And so probably around 84, 85, 86 is when I probably bought my first few packs of cards, right? No rhyme or reason, just buy some cello packs at the Arbor Drugs there in my hometown of Tecumseh, Michigan, for probably 45 cents, and open them up, and then whatever happened to them, right? They ended up in a box, something. Probably around 88, I think we probably bought our first price guide.
Okay.
So then all of a sudden you're looking at your Don Mattingly's, right? Your Wade Boggs, and you're looking at maybe some Bo Jacksons from 86, 87, and you start seeing, holy cow, these things are worth $5.
$10,
like,
yeah,
wow.
maybe. Exactly.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
It was great. And so then all of a sudden my dad and I just started going to card shows. And, I would take my birthday money, my Christmas money, I would go to Michigan football games, and at the time you would collect cans after the game. So my dad and I would collect cans, and we'd walk back to the car with garbage bags full of cans, and I'd take those to the same Arbor Drugs and get myself $18, $20 that I would ultimately end up taking to a card show. So, over time. And but probably have, mainly in the years that I have, it's probably between like 1988 and 1992, I would say. A mix of baseball, basketball, some football. I wasn't as much of a football fan then as what I am now, and was when we were doing our fantasy football shows and talking every day, and like a little bit of hockey. The vast majority of what I have is honestly unopened. Because at the time, and this is something that I've kind of learned from you and just like little brief Google searches online, at the time, the unopened was the more valuable thing, right? It was, okay, well, I got this box of 87 Fleer baseball cards. I've never opened them up. Who knows how many Barry Bonds's are in there, right? There could be 10, there could be 0. But you took the chance, right? And so even as a kid collecting in his 10 to 12 to 13, I was already thinking about the monetary value of what it could be, down the road. It wasn't so much like, hey, there's my favorite picture of my favorite guy. It was, how can I, take advantage of this a little bit later? So that's mostly what I got. When I go to my mom and dad's house, still boxes of unopened wax packs, cello packs. And then once they started to have kind of the more metallic, like more higher quality, then it's like the upper deck cards. Back in 89, they started to make a higher quality pack, sealed and so forth. Couldn't really manipulate without knowing it. That's basically what I got. A lot of, I think I have some complete sets of Donruss Topps Fleer 81 to 83. I think I was, I didn't have a job at 8, so I didn't have the money. So I don't have anything on the high priced 84s, because there were some high priced 84s, 85s, and 86s. So I kind of had, those early 80s. I didn't have any money. I was collecting cans for money. But my dad has those. So between me and my dad, over the course of probably a 4 or 5 year period, we would probably go to a card show every 3 months. We probably have, between the two of us, somewhere in the ballpark of 350,000 to 450,000 cards. The vast majority of those have never been touched by a human hand, period.
That's amazing.
And, we have packs that have a Barry Sanders rookie on the front, a Troy Aikman rookie on the back. The thing is unopened, but you can see it.
What have you and your dad talked about what the plan is for those unopened boxes? Because you had the foresight back in 1989 to keep them sealed. And here we are in 2021 going into 2022.
Yeah.
What's the plan? Are you handing those down to your son, to his grandson? What are you guys going to do with it?
It's funny. I don't know. I mean, I live in Phoenix, as you know. To get those things out here would be quite the haul, be quite the effort to be able to get all those out. When this all kind of started, the card craze all of a sudden came back. I mean, think about this, Paul. The card craze ended in 92, 93. Like, it was over.
Yeah.
And it didn't really have any steam for 30 years. No steam, period.
Yep.
So, we always laughed about it, how much money we had spent into these. And we're like, it's just the sunk cost. So now, I'll be honest, I've talked to my dad and I said, because this is his summertime up in Michigan, and he bikes 100 miles a day. So he doesn't have time to do all this stuff. But I told him, I said, Dad, you really ought to look in the winter when you're kind of shut in a little bit more and start looking at what you got. Because I told him, I said, it's kind of evolved a little bit. This is something I'll learn from you as we continue to do some of these shows, is where's the value today? And how do you find that value in your card collection? I told him in the winter, what you should think about doing is let's talk to Paul and let's find out, where's your value? What do you have that's good? Do we decide to open a box of those, pick out the ones that we likely should get graded, and see where the value is in some of these things? Because if you got 4 or 5 Griffies right there, it'd be kind of nice to cash in on a $30, $35, $50 box back in 89, 90, 91, turn it into a $1,500 or more.